This is a clock spring. It contains a wound up wire inside and allows the airbag, horn and steering wheel buttons to stay connected as the steering wheel is rotated. Cars from the past that had less safety features and gadgets would have no need for the clock spring, as there was no buttons or airbag and sometimes there wasn't even a horn. The clock spring is located in the steering wheel column and is mounted right underneath the steering wheel. You can see here that the clock spring sits directly behind the steering wheel. There are wires that connect to the airbag and also a connector for the steering wheel buttons. On the opposite side is where the car's electrical wiring harness plugs into it. To diagnose a bad clock spring, you will need a diagnostic scanner that is able to read multiple systems, not just the ECU. You will get a trouble code like B1915, airbag circuit resistance too high. Symptoms of a bad clock spring are airbag light on, horn doesn't work, steering wheel control buttons don't work. Before doing any work on the clock spring, first disconnect the cable from the battery and wait at least 10 minutes. Here's the checklist. Disconnect battery, remove driver's airbag, remove steering wheel, remove clock spring. The clock spring should have two arrows that have to line up like this. It should also have a locking clip like this. When you remove the locking clip, the clock spring can rotate both ways. So when a clock spring is set correctly, it should be centered and turn an equal amount of times to the left as it does to the right. As this is an old clock spring that was broken, it may have been turned accidentally from center. And as you can see, it turns more rotations to the left than the right. This is wrong and should never be installed like this. When you replace the clock spring, it must be centered. To check that the clock spring is centered is easy enough to do. You have to have the same rotations to the left as to the right. I had 1.6 rotations to the right and 3.3 rotations to the left. Add them together and you will get 4.9. So you roughly need 2.5 rotations each way. Remember to be gentle and do not force any rotations. As soon as you feel resistance, stop. So just to recap, if I rotate the clock spring all the way to the left and then turn back to the right just over 2 rotations and the arrows match, then it will be centered. It's dismantling time and my tool of choice is tweezers. First off is a metal tang which needs to be removed. And then a series of plastic clips need to be lifted. Now all the clips are lifted, I can gently remove all the different parts of the clock spring. You can see that inside is a coiled up ribbon wire, and I spot the fault that this clock spring had. I could see that the ribbon cable had been folded over onto itself. This must have happened when somebody installed it incorrectly and did not have it centered. It has rotated too far the wrong way and folded. Over time, this must have caused a break in the wire. You can see that this ribbon cable only has 3 wires inside, as the car had no steering wheel controls. Cars with more controls will have more wires. As you can see, in the end you end up with a big mess. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please consider liking, subscribing and even sharing. Ta-ra!